Hello, alchemists! Thanks for joining me today. The new alchemy set for Lost Caverns of Ixalan is out, so I thought I would introduce the set by doing a pack openings. I've already done a few card reviews, so I'll be glossing over those. If you missed them, please visit my channel page for those and all things alchemy. I do several videos a week, and the upcoming videos will be about putting these new cards to use. Please consider subscribing if that sounds interesting, so you can get my videos in your feed as they release. Full disclosure, I did edit out duplicates in the packs to keep the length reasonable. All in all, I opened 33 packs, and at the end, I go back and talk about the ones I didn't get, too. With that, let's get to the excitement. See what we got here. Ooh, got a Mythic pack. Alright. We've got Dusk's Landing, which is the Vampire Seek spell. It's a sorcery where you draw a card, and if an opponent lost life and you gained life this turn, seek 2 vampire cards instead. Seems like a pretty good value. I'm not quite sure how exactly I'm going to use it, but we'll definitely give this one a try. We got Radiant Smite, which destroys a creature with power 4 or greater, and you gain life if you weren't the starting player. It's got cycling, and you can gain 2 life when you cycle it if you weren't the starting player. Not quite sure how I would play this. Maybe in best of 3 where you know where you're going to be. You swap this in to get the extra value. I don't plan on using this one. And we've got our first Mythic, Caldera Breaker. This is a sort of a, I guess it could be in multiple colors, but it seems like it would be best in a mono-red deck. It's a 6/6, and when it enters the battlefield, exile all mountain cards from your library. When you do, Caldera Breaker deals that much damage to target creature, planeswalker, and opponent controls. So you're going to destroy an opponent's creature, because you probably are going to have, at least 10 mountains. Guaranteed non-land card draw could be pretty cool. And then, when it dies, put all cards exiled with it onto the battlefield under their owner's control. Conjure 4 cards named Volcanic Geyser into your library, then shuffle. Okay, so if you're running 24 lands and they're all mountains, you're going to have 24 lands in play, which means once you find that Volcanic Geyser, your opponent is done. So yeah, I think we can probably do some silly things with this card. Let's move on to the next one. Got a gold in this one. We've got a copy of the Merfolk Merfolk Seek spell. You draw a card, but if you explored this turn, seek a Merfolk instead. I'm not quite sure, which Merfolk you'd be looking for. This seems like it would work, maybe? I don't know. Then we've got Wingbane Vantasaur, an uncommon, and when it enters the battlefield, you can either get a Naturalize, which is destroy a target artifact or enchantment, or you get a Savage Stomp, and you can fight with a dinosaur for very cheaply, or just a regular creature not as cheaply. And you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it. And it's a 4/5 body for 4 with reach. Does give some inherent artifact and enchantment control to the dinos, which is probably a very good addition. Alright, let's see what the rare is. Brazen Boarding. I am disappointed by this card. It's a 4-cost sorcery that deals 4, and you get stuff if excess damage is dealt this way. You do conjure it onto the battlefield, So if you do 1 extra damage, you get a Spyglass Siren. Cool. 2, you get a Staunch Crewmate. And you therefore get to look for an artifact or pirate card among the top 4 cards. You got a Corsair Captain that gives your pirates +1/+1. Seems pretty good. And you get a treasure token too. And if you manage to do 5 or 4 excess damage, which you're going to have to find some way to boost the damage of Brazen Boarding, you get Admiral Beckett Brass, and which also boosts your other pirates, and you gain control at the beginning of your end step. Target non-land permanent controlled by a player who is dealt combat damage by 3 or more pirates this turn. Yeah, that's pretty conditional. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this card. And we've got the Merfolk Tunnel Guide. You get a 3-time boon whenever 1 or more merfolk enter the battle under your control. A merfolk explores. Nice. And it is a merfolk itself, so it seems to pair up with the Reveille pretty well. So might be worth taking a look at. Again, not a huge fan. It is whenever it attacks, exile up to 1 target creature from a graveyard. If you do, conjure a duplicate of it into your graveyard. The duplicate perpetually becomes a black skeleton with base power and toughness 3/1, in addition to its other colors and types. When Legion Reconsecrator dies, return another target creature card with power or toughness 1 from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yeah, it could be alright. You do get a second thing as long as it doesn't get exiled, which today's meta is there's no guarantee of that. And you get to do some graveyard hate on someone. So I'll have to try it out. It doesn't really excite me though. Got another Radiant Smite, Reflection Net. I don't think we've looked at before. Reflection Net is a artifact with flash for 1, a white and a blue, and when it enters the battlefield you can exile target creature until it leaves the battlefield. But it has a 1-time ability that you can turn a creature you control into a copy of the creature card exiled with it. You can only do that as a sorcery and only once, but I'm thinking it's going to be pretty fun when it does happen. Oh, and that is not an until end of turn effect. That is just, it happens. I had not looked at that before. Seems pretty good. I mean, for 5, you're exiling something of theirs. You're essentially gaining control of it until this artifact leaves the battlefield, and you can split the cost. You only have to run 3 open instead of 5, and then like the next turn you can bring it in, and essentially if you controlled the creature you're changing it, it has haste. I mean, because it's been on the battlefield. So I think, haven't seen it in action. And the rare is Cogwork Progenitor. It's an interesting card. I haven't gotten an inspiration on this one. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile another artifact you control or one from your graveyard, and if you do, seek an artifact card, and that card perpetually has base power and toughness 1/1 and becomes a known creature in addition to its other types. So the stuff that comes to mind first off is stuff like Duskrow's Reliquary and spring-loaded saw blades that you just turn into creatures, which, I mean, the Duskrow's Reliquary, that just makes it more vulnerable, but the saw blades gives you something to do with it before it transforms, which could be kind of neat. But there's a lot of things to do, and a lot of things to have happen before that. So this isn't the card that I'm most excited to try out. Pack number 4. It's got a rare. I got another Ribbled Shanty, a Landlord Navigator. And when it attacks, you create a map token. It's a 2/1 for 1 and a blue. And then at the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, conjure a card named Thieving Magpie onto the battlefield. And this is an old card. And it's a 1/3 flyer that when it deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. So, nice draw engine. You do have to, I mean, Landlord Navigator is underpowered for 2 mana, and it doesn't seem like it'll be attacking a ton unless you really have board dominance, which really isn't Blue's thing. Artifacts could be Blue's thing, though, so a fairly easy way to gain a 1/3 flyer that gives you card draw. And it's not one that I'm terribly excited to play, but could build around it at some point. And the rare is High Marshal Arguel. When it dies, conjure a card named Arguel's Bloodflast onto the battlefield, and you may transform it. I should back up a second. It's a 1, a white, and a black for a 3/1 legendary Vampire Knight with no keywords. And okay, so if it dies, you get the Bloodfast and you can transform it. And if you already have both the Bloodfast and what it transforms into, you get 2 4/3 white and black Vampire Demon creature tokens with flying. So, and Arguel's Bloodfast is enchantment that allows you to pay 2 and 2 life to draw a card, and you can transform it if you have 5 or less life. I believe it's a land that I'm not quite sure what it does. But it looks like a fairly interesting card, especially with the vampire seeking out there. It doesn't have as strong a penalty for it being legendary, because you kind of want multiple copies of it to die. Okay, something with a mythic in it. We got Merfolk Tunnel Guide. We'll have to get 4 and see what we can do with Merfolk. And we get the Blue Chorus, which seems like maybe the most playable of these. It's an instant. It starts at intensity 3, and then you draw a number of cards equal to this spell's intensity, and then all cards you own intensify by 1. I don't know how many copies you want to run of this, though. So, I mean, are you really going to run 4 copies? Like, the 4th one, if you get to it, you get, you get 6 cards. But at the price of having that take up 4 slots in your deck, could be interesting. Got another Mythic. Yep, the Mythweaver Poke, or Pock. It's a legendary cat shaman? Yeah. Shaman. For 3 and a green for 4. And its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. And it's a little more expensive than some other creatures like that. Like I'm thinking Stick Fingers or the Tree Folk. There's a Tree Folk, I think, for 3 that has power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. But this also has the triggered ability that whenever 1 or more non-token lands enter the battlefield under your control, for each of them, conjure a duplicate of it onto the battlefield. And it only triggers once each turn. So if you cast something like Invasion of Zendikar, you will get 4 lands off of it, but if you play another land that turn, you only end up getting 5 lands that turn. So this thing can play this on turn 4, and then on turn 5 drop Zendikar, and all of a sudden it is a 9/9. That seems pretty good. So yeah, this could be a fun card. Wish I had more of Blossoming Tortoise. That's another thing that wouldn't get doubled, but seems to go with the land theme. And got both the uncommons. The rare is Mycelic Ballad. This is the Black Chorus, starts at intensity 2, and each player sacrifices X creatures and you gain X life, where X is the spell's intensity, and all chorus cards you own intensify by 1. Seems like this could be playable in a creature-less deck. Something like, not many creatures might drop into Dimir control. You could also use it with maybe Aclazotz. Just wipe out the opponent's board. Run Liliana. This just wipes everything that gets through. And then, yeah, you just keep bringing back Aclazotz with them not having much in their hand. Could be fun. Phantasmal Extraction. This is a discard card that doesn't look terribly exciting. It's another, I think, good for best of 3 where you know whether you're the starting player or not. If you weren't the starting player, it costs 1 less to cast. So just for 1 black, target opponent reveals each non-land card in their hand with mana value 4 or less. Choose a card revealed this way and exile that card. Oh, and you can also grab a card in their graveyard. So any card in their graveyard, not just with mana value 4 or less. It will find Shieldred. It's a little bit pricier than Duress or Dreams of Steel and Oil, but it probably hits more stuff. There are some 5 strengths that, and it doesn't reveal the whole hand, so it definitely has some drawbacks or trade-offs. And the rare is a second copy of High Marshal Arguel. Got the Wingbane Vantasaur. I think I did talk about this one. And we have all Herald's Reveille. I am almost up to, and a 3rd High Marshal Arguel. Well, it looks like I'm putting together a vampire deck. And Get a mythic out of this one. Got another reflection net. I'm excited about that. And the mythic is Colossal Chorus. We have the green chorus. And for 8 mana with 2 green, for 6 and 2 green, starting intensity 2, it's a sorcery. You can draw X cards where X is the intensity, named Colossal Dreadmaw, onto the battlefield. And all chorus cards you own intensify by 1. So for 8, you get 2 6/6 tramplers. If you have Polani's Hatcher down, they have haste, which would make this way better. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to run a ton of copies of this. Are you going to not going to run it with the black deck? Maybe run it with the blue chorus. Maybe the red, but yeah, it seems kind of unexciting to me. Well, I can certainly put together a chorus deck. And we get a mythic. We get a Pirate's Landing. That's cool. Dusk's Landing. Also cool. Chitinous Crawler. Nice. This is a cool card in that it allows you to play cards from your graveyard as long as there are 8 permanents there. Only as a sorcery. It also helps to fill your graveyard because you can also duplicate things in your graveyard. So that's cool. What are we gonna get? Got a rare. And this is kind of a cool one. It is a 3/3 for 4 with 3 color mana. So 1, a green, a white, and a blue. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose up to 1 target artifact or land you control that isn't a creature or token. So, and then until end of turn, it becomes a 3/3 spirit creature with vigilance and double team in addition to its other types. Could be neat. Definitely a land deck sort of card. It's nice. Double team is when a creature with double team attacks. If it's not a token, conjure a duplicate into your hand. Then both of them perpetually lose double team. So you get a copy of whatever you attack with. Definitely useful for the creature lands, like the Restless Harbor, I think, or the one that turns into a bird and creates map tokens is worth doing. The Restless Vinestock, the one that turns makes another attacking creature a 3/3. It's probably less so. And then you've got the Restless Prairie that is a llama that gives your field +1/+1. It's probably the best of those. I don't know that I'll be crafting more of them, but might try and see how that effect works. It can work with the other land cards that I've got. I've got a Blossoming Tortoise, and now I've got that Mythweaver Pock. 2 left. I think I've got like 8 Reflection Net that I've opened in this. Valiant Batrider! Yay! I at least got 1. And a rare wild card. Awesome. Can call that a Batrider too. Batrider, if you haven't seen my other video, it's a 3/3 flyer for 2 and a white. Yes, that's a 3/3 flyer for 2 and a white. So great value. And then, if it connects, your opponent gets a one-time boon. When you cast your next non-creature spell, you may pay 1. If you do not, your opponent draws a card. So, you may get a card off the next time your opponent casts a non-creature spell, or they will have to pay more for it. Either way is a win. Okay, and we'll go on to the last one. What do we get? Aclazotz, another rare, and another Legion's Chant. I mean, this could be alright. I don't know that I actually went through this one. Starts at intensity 3, return any number of creature cards with total mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is Legion's Chant intensity. Wow, that's hard to say. And then all chorus cards you own intensified by 1. So, I mean, this isn't horrible. For 3, you get 3 mana value worth of cards. If you compare to, I think it's the Brothers War Common Recommission, that one you can return a creature for 2 mana to the battlefield up to mana value 3. And if it's, I think you can actually do that for an artifact too. So that's superior to this card in that way. And also, if you recommission a creature, it comes in with a +1/+1 counter on it. So I don't know if it's a playable card. If it is, it's only marginally so. Got another Merfolk Tunnel Guide. This is a new one. Scale Speaker Shepherd. When Scale Speaker enters the battlefield, draft a card from Scale Speaker Shepherd's spellbook, and dinosaur spells cost 1 less to cast. And the spellbook is full of dinosaurs. Don't know that it actually goes in the dinosaur deck, but it certainly could improve a weaker one. And this looks almost like the same pack. Mycoid Resurrection. Golgari land deck that this might work. Each creature card in your graveyard perpetually gets +X/+X, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That seems pretty sweet, except it is extremely expensive. And stuff we have. Stalwart Speartail. This is a cool card. For 3, 1 red and a green, you get a 4/4, which is great right there. And it has Enrage, so it is even better whenever Stalwart Speartail is dealt damage. Other dinosaurs you control and dinosaur cards in your hand and library perpetually get +1/+1. Holy moly. You basically want this thing to take damage. Like, it would actually be beneficial to ping this. And if that weren't enough, when it attacks, you may pay 3. When you do, Stalwart Speartail deals 1 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So for 3, you can clear out all the humans or soldiers that have been generated by Horn of Gondor comes to mind. But yes, it'll also wipe out all the Phoenix Chicks and humans from Rally at the Hornburg, and push up everything except what's in your graveyard already. On turn 4. Yeah, okay, this is a great card. I may be crafting more of these because that's just insane. I would love another pack just like that one. We get another rare wild card, and for the last one, this is a 3/3 fungus that creates, or conjures 2 other propagator primordiums into your graveyard, and then it gets spore counters, and it needs 3 spore counters to bring a fungus onto the battlefield. I mean, it's a 3/3 for 2, so anything else you get is gravy. Also might go in a Descend deck where you're trying to fill up the graveyard. And that's it. That's what we've got to play with. let's go to the decks. We did not get another Valiant Bat Rider. We'll see what we're working with here. We'll go with, what did we not collect from the Ixalan Alchemy set? Yeah, let's look at Plunderer's Prize. Seek a non-land card with mana value X or less and put it onto the battlefield. Oh yes, X or less, because that's key later in the card. If a card with mana value less than X is put onto the battlefield this way, this spell perpetually gains. This spell costs 1 more to cast, then return this spell to its owner's hand. So that's pretty sweet. So yeah, this seems like a wonderful value. And very cool if you can, do it a couple of times. And then the other one that I didn't get was the Scale Soul Gnome, which looked marginal, but I've been wrong before. It's a 3/5 trample and haste, so you get to use it the turn it comes into play. 4/5. It's 3, a red and a white. And whenever a Scale Soul Gnome deals combat damage to a player, discover X, where X is that damage. And whenever you play a card from exile, conjure a duplicate of it into your hand. Okay, what? I mean, it's 5, so I mean, you could use this in place or alongside of Quintorius Canned. But your deck is getting pretty expensive at that point. Also, it is a gnome, so it doesn't trigger an Impical's ability. But it would trigger Pianalars, and it would trigger Quintorius's. So, yeah, this probably has a place in a Discover deck. You might want some ramp on that deck, though. Might want to put in the Halfling and the Beanstalk. I don't know. We'll try it out if we get some of that card. And when we're drafting, I better believe that we're going to be going for that card. Thank you for watching the intro to Ixalan Alchemy set. And I'm excited for this season. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to get all of my Ixalan Alchemy Seasons content. And I would love it if you hit that like button. It really helps me out. Until next time, may Magic the Gathering Alchemy make your day golden.